Welcome to another episode of the Clueless Dude's Real Tool Reviews. Today we're looking at impact drivers. If you're thinking about buying your first impact driver for home use or thinking about upgrading to a new impact driver, you've come to the right place. Today we're going to be looking at three different sets of demonstration groups. First, I'm going to do a demonstration of the very basic entry-level 12-volt impact driver. Then I'm going to do a demonstration of two very entry-level 20-volt impact drivers. Then lastly, I'm going to do a demonstration of four $50 to $150 impact drivers, including two that are brushless. And as you can see, the testing being done will be based on how much power the impact driver has, as you can see on your screen. Okay, if you know what you're interested in and want to skip ahead, all these different testing categories are indexed below. Once you decide which general category impact driver is correct for you, you can find details about the specific ones tested in this video in the description below. The first set of tests are only going to be for the 12-volt entry-level impact driver. It's going to be testing with decking screws into pressure-treated wood, and then testing with a 0.2-inch lag bolt. Alright guys, let's get started.
Do two decking screws into pressure treated wood and we'll see how it does. 3, 2, 1, beep. Now, as you can see, no problems at all putting the decking screws in. Alright guys, let's try something a little bit bigger. Here we go.
Alright, we just saw the decking screw is not a problem for this little impact driver. Let's now try it with a 0.2-inch lag bolt and see how it does.
Our next test is going to be a 6-inch lag bolt. It's very small. It's only 0.2 inches. That is 1/5 of an inch. And we'll see how it does. This is not pre-drilled, so it's going to be just into pressure-treated wood. No pre-drilling. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, beep. There you go. You can see it can do it. And I'll say this is probably the upper limit of what this little 12-volt guy can do. Again, I think it's only about $33 or $34, and I wouldn't expect much more from it. So if you're doing simply decking screws, I think this would be fine if you have a limited number. If you're replacing hundreds of decking screws or even 50 or something, you may want to go up a size. But if you just got, let's say, 2 or 3 decking boards you got to replace, this will probably be okay. If you're getting to lag bolts, unless they're super skinny like this one, I wouldn't recommend this, and even then, only if you have 1 or 2. If you're doing lots of them, I think this little guy might overheat. I like this impact driver a lot. I use it for putting in basically smaller screws to avoid cam out, especially if they're Phillips, even though you're really not supposed to if they're not impact rated, but I do it anyway. And also for just easy things where this is light, it's easy to get to. But anything bigger than what we just went over, I'm going to say jump up to the 20-volt tools, and we'll see how they do.
Let's go on to 20-volt impact drivers. We're going to start off with the entry-level ones that are under $50. Our first test with the 20-volt entry-level impact drivers is going to be a 0.3-inch lag bolt by 4 inches, and we'll see how they do. As you can see, the Warrior was almost twice as fast as the Hyper Tough in our first test at 23 seconds to 44 seconds in the 0.3-inch lag bolt test. Alright, let's try a slightly bigger lag bolt, a 0.36-inch lag bolt, and we'll see how it does.
Alright guys, I would have kept going, but I feel like I'm starting to damage the tool.
As you can see, the 0.36-inch lag bolt was a little bit too much for the Hyper Tough, but the Warrior finished it. I want to remind folks, these were not pre-drilled. Most sane people would pre-drill the holes, but I'm doing this just so you get an idea for about how much torque each tool has. All right, this takes care of the entry-level 20-volt impact drivers. Let's go on to the mid-level and brushless models next. Let's get some more testing going. We're going to test the remaining 4 impact drivers all together, and we'll see how they do against each other. Here we go. We'll test the remaining 4 impact drivers against a 0.3-inch lag bolt and see how it goes, starting now. Wow, would you look at that? The Bauer inched out the 2 brushless models by almost 2 seconds. All right, well, you can see the Bauer's doing better than I expected. It's a good brand, but I didn't expect it to beat the brushless. Here's the next test. You can see the next test is going to be a 0.36-inch lag bolt, and we'll see how they do. Let's get started. Wow, once again, the Bauer surprises me by being first place, beating the brushless models. All right, let's update the scorecard and let's see how it looks overall. All right, looks like the Bauer is doing really well. To my surprise, even beating the brushless models. Let's now jump up to the biggest test I'm going to do, which is the half-inch lag bolt, not pre-drilled into pressure-treated wood. Let's see how they do, starting now. Wow, I was surprised again how well the Bauer did. It only lost the atomic DeWalt by only a few tenths of a second, almost beyond my ability to measure it, but one got rounded down, one got rounded up, and that's why there's a full second difference on the display. All right, guys, we're going to switch over to the scorecard. Let's add up the scorecard here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scorecard in the conclusion section, add up the totals for all the 20-volt tools that finished all the tests, and then we'll rank them, and we'll also look at the difference in prices. In addition to that, we're going to look at what other things beyond pure performance might affect which product you decide to get. A lot of people don't know this about YouTube, but YouTube does not share any ad revenue until a person gets 1,000 subscribers. Right now, I'm paying for all this out of pocket. It is my retirement hobby. I like making these fun videos, but I'd appreciate it if you'd either send large bags of gold or just hit the subscribe key. Thanks, guys. All right, time for the conclusion. Wow, the biggest surprise to me was the Bauer. I expected it to do well, but not this well. It is basically the fastest one there. It is $60 with a battery, often on sale for less or with an extra battery, and roughly $39 bare tool. And again, it's from Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight all the time has crazy sales, so you can probably get it cheaper. The biggest disappointment to me was the Hart 20-volt brushless. I expected it to be more or less kind of on par with maybe the DeWalt Atomic. DeWalt Atomic's often on sale around Christmas for approximately $100, $110, and I was expecting the Hart to be neck and neck with it, and it's just not, at least not on the testing that I did. So if I was starting over, what would I get? Well, here's the thing. The Bauer is really strong, but it's not a brushless motor, so if you're going to be using it a lot, brushless motors typically have a longer lifespan than brush motors. Not always, but typically. They do make a brushless version of the Bauer. I don't have it, so I didn't put it in this test, but just something to consider. For the price, the Bauer seems surprisingly good. The other thing to consider is what other tools are available from a given line. So let's say you get hooked on, let's say, the Hart, which is where I got hooked onto. I have a lot of Hart tools, and then suddenly I want a tool that Hart doesn't make. Well, then I go out and buy some other brand's tool, and if it's got to be battery operated, well, then I got to get another battery system. So right now, I've got 20-volt Bauer batteries, I got 20-volt Hart batteries, I got 20-volt DeWalt batteries, I also have 20-volt Hyper Tough batteries, 20-volt, technically 18-volt Warrior batteries, and it's kind of a mess. And part of that's because of the testing I do. So if you're a homeowner and you're about to buy your first set of 20-volt tools, or perhaps even 12-volt tools,
I would recommend this. Before you buy your first tool, look at the entire line that takes the same type of batteries and ask yourself, do you need those batteries to be interoperable so that you're not buying batteries every time you get a new tool? And if the answer is yes, before you look at just the price of the first tool you're going to buy, look at the price of all the tools you're planning on buying from that line. And again, if it's battery operated, you probably want the batteries to be interchangeable so that you can just share the batteries amongst the tools. So let's say you got 6 tools and 4 batteries, and you're about to buy a 7th tool. Do you really want to have to go out and buy another battery? Sometimes it makes sense if you're like doing something really industrial, but for the average homeowner, just like myself or a renter, it doesn't make sense if you're doing just tiny, small projects and you're just doing residential work. All right, guys, that's all I've got. I hope you found this helpful. As I mentioned before, this is a hobby. I pay for this all out of pocket. I really appreciate you if you'd hit the subscribe key, because without 1,000 subscribers, YouTube won't pay me a dime. I truly hope this helped. Have a great day. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.